What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is September 1st of 2017. Can't believe we're already through the month of August. It flew by. But anyways, glad to have you all here today. Today we're doing our weekly recap on cryptocurrencies. We're going to talk about the big players as well as some of our candidates for the long term, and really just recap on what happened over the past week as well as, in my opinion, what's going to happen over the next week. So without hesitation, let's jump right into it and do a little bit of a market recap from the past week. So, as you all know, we called for Bitcoin to continue rallying towards 5,000. And though it hasn't made it there yet, it has continued its promise of optimism. So far, it has continued all the way up to $4,800, which is very close to our target of 5,000. So it's continuing the uptrend. The bullishness is still there in Bitcoin, and I think we're going to see 5,000. Now, seeing as we've been, overtly optimistic on Bitcoin and we've been calling for 5,000, I got to tell y'all, folks, I'm not adding to my Bitcoin position yet, and I'm not going to be adding anywhere until we get a serious pullback. I think, in my opinion, we're going to see a pretty serious pullback from 5,000, and you're going to see some major volume pour out of Bitcoin. Now, why is that? Well, let's take a real good fundamental sense here. I understand we're all optimistic on cryptocurrencies. In the long term, Bitcoin's going to go probably much higher, and I think that anywhere in these levels in the long term, you're going to be making a profit. But I want to make a clear statement here. Let's just really think about this on a fundamental sense, okay? Bitcoin itself, a month and a half ago, was sitting around $1,900, okay? Just really think about that, $1,900, something that I think an institutional investor wouldn't even bat an eye at. He would just honestly invest in and he'd feel safe. We're now sitting at a much higher valuation, folks. Almost, if it does get up to $4,900, that's a $3,000 premium. It's more than doubled its valuation in this period of time. Now, I got to ask you, and I want you to think about this in a fundamental sense, because I'm not here to, FOMO and, I have Bitcoin, and I'm not also here to FUD and get you all worried. But I want to ask you in a strategical sense. Do you think an institutional investor wants to pay $5,000 for Bitcoin when just a month and a half ago it was sitting at $1,900? Quite frankly, I don't think so. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get a pullback to $1,900. I'm not calling for that kind of crazy pullback. But I got to say, I think it's time we had a little bit of a correction in Bitcoin. And quite frankly, if you look at the volume here, there's not much trading going on at these price levels. So I think it's calling for it. I think we need that pullback. And I'll continue to talk about that as we look towards the total market capitalization of cryptocurrencies. But if you're curious about my opinion as to where we could see Bitcoin go, I think what we're going to do is see a continuation towards 5,000. And once we reach that big even, remember we talk about the big evens being important in cryptocurrencies in any traditional market, I think we're going to see a run up to 5,000. And then we're going to see a pullback down to the level that I've been talking about for quite some time, around the $3,400, $3,500 range. I think that's a decent pullback. A good $1,500 pullback in Bitcoin is what it needs in the sense of a healthy correction. If we take a look at this, if you really want to see the scale of how fast this is running up, I can't even load the monthly on I can't do that on CryptoWatch, but look at how much exuberance is coming to this. I think it's awesome. I understand it. I completely get it. And to see that there was some volume for these first few weeks really made me optimistic, but the volume has just been slowly tapering off. We didn't get it this past week, and I think that it's showing some signs that, look, we're getting a little bit fragile at this point. We need a pullback, and it's healthy for markets. So as Bitcoin being the backbone of cryptocurrencies, I think that we've had a lot of exuberance in the ICO market and the general thing of cryptocurrencies. A lot of long-term plays that have been in crypto for quite some time, especially Monero has done fantastic, and then we have some ICOs like Monaco, all these players that have really been doing well for the past few weeks. But I think it's time we get a little bit of a pullback. And that's not something negative to say in cryptocurrencies. It's just a healthy step in markets. So I wouldn't be buying at these levels. Just letting y'all know, my personal opinion, if you want to follow me in any sense, I'm not investing at these levels. I'm waiting for a pullback, and I'm hoping we can get around the $3,400, $3,500 range. That would be awesome to start adding some positions in Bitcoin, and then maybe diversifying into some altcoins. So going here on to coin market cap, we can see that there has been some increase in a lot of big players. Ripple making a rebound, Litecoin making a stellar jump up to new highs, over a $4 billion valuation. We've seen Monero do very well as well. We're going to talk about Neo as well. But I really want to sit back and, again, re-emphasize what I've been saying with cryptocurrency valuations. We've gone from Bitcoin's bottom around the $1,900 range at a valuation of $63 billion in total market cap for cryptocurrencies, all the way up to $172 billion. Folks, big money's coming in. We are in a bull run of grand proportions. And the crazy thing is, I think we're just getting started in the grand scheme of things. Now, this is a decent level where we can start looking to say, okay, it might be time for a pullback. And with Bitcoin pulling back to 3,500, I think we could easily pull back to somewhere around the $115 to $130 billion range. I think that would be a great target price. A good few, tens of billions in market cap getting cut off. Some of the overhyped ICOs getting a little bit of a pullback. Bitcoin and a lot of the leaders in the market getting a decent pullback as well and providing some good buying opportunities. But the volume's there. It's a real market. It's actual steady, upticking in price action. So I got to say, congrats to the longs. To those of you who have been a part of cryptocurrencies, this has just been a fantastic run up. So I want to get on to some of the altcoins now. As you all probably know, we did a video this week on small caps in cryptocurrencies. And man, did we make a good call on Navcoin. An absolute explosion on Navcoin came after we were covering it on our video. I think the timing was just right. And we could see, if we check here on the hourly, this has just been rallying since the buy point. I got in around 11,500 Satoshis. And I'll be honest, I'm not holding it anymore. I got out a while ago. I couldn't hold it for this entire rally. You can't foresee this kind of exuberance and volume, especially in such a small cap. But Navcoin definitely made a name for itself this week and did a fantastic run-up. And we locked in some good profits. So fantastic trades, guys. Really good one and good call on Navcoin for those of you who got in. And I think it might still have some room to run up, but quite frankly, as I tell you all, I don't buy at these kind of highs. I wait for a nice stellar pullback, as we did when it was pulling back here instead of buying up at those highs. We bought it a nice pullback and we got paid. So really good trade on Navcoin. And I think this could be a good long-term play. As I told you all, a lot of the privacy coins are getting some attention. You can see from that volume, this isn't, some mere pump and dump. This is serious Bitcoin volume coming into a small cap. So you can also see here Mysterium, another good call we've made. I bought around the 31,000 Satoshi level on this one. I think when I averaged out, I made a few buy orders on it down in the lows. And rather than buying up here, we were patient. We waited for the pullback, and we got in, and we're getting paid. I bought in at, like I said, 31,000 Satoshis, and now we're up to 37,000. We even saw higher price levels up there to where I was up a massive amount on my trade, over 30-something%. So, again, I'm reaffirming I'm long-term on Mysterium. We've definitely made some good holdings on these coins, these small caps. And I think that this has got more room to go. We saw just how high Navcoin went. And quite frankly, I think Mysterium has much more fundamental value to it. I think it's one of those ICOs that, we're watching ICOs completely go back up to their previous ICO valuations. I don't know if we could see it up to 100,000 Satoshis, but if this continues this kind of volume pattern and really gets a good breakout day like this, where we can get a few hundred Bitcoin in volume, I think we can easily come back to these values and really get a double in the valuation. Now, of course, you got to understand what Mysterium is. I recommend you go watch my video on Mysterium and understand why I'm so optimistic on a fundamental sense. I think that it's a good cryptocurrency. I think this isn't something you just want to swing trade. I've held a long-term position on Mysterium, and I want to add to it as well. So definitely keep an eye on Mysterium. One of my best long-term plays in the sense of the, decentralizing any kind of industry, and in this case, it's decentralizing VPNs, which need to be decentralized and brought to the blockchain. I think it's fantastic. So definitely keep an eye on Mysterium. Next up, we've got Zcoin. Now, as I've been telling you all, this is another small cap. This one has yet to really see any major price action, but I want to tell you all, remember, we try to make callings before the market gets hype on them. And I think that Zcoin is going to be another follower of what we saw with Navcoin. Zcoin is another privacy coin that uses zero-proof knowledge, a big selling point in the cryptocurrency space for private transactions. And we talked about this on my channel, and quite frankly, if we look here, I think what we're seeing is a repeat of the past where we saw a run-up, we saw the flagging in price, and then a breakout to new highs. Okay, so that's what we're seeing right here. We bought them at the same level. We saw the run up, and though it's not exactly the same price action, you're never going to see that, we're seeing a general flag where it's holding the majority of its gains. It's not coming back to the bottom here, and the volume is there to support it. So if we got another breakout, kind of volume day like this, and we really saw some buyers pour in, I think Zcoin could really do well. It has a very limited supply to it, which I think is a good selling point. And just in general, its Bitcoin comparative is on the lower end. Remember, we buy low, we sell high. Period. Simple concept. It makes sense, though. It gets you paid. And quite frankly, I think Zcoin is a very potential candidate at these levels to break out. So I'm actually going to probably be, if I lock out of my one of my positions on one of my swing trades, I'm going to move over the funds towards Zcoin and make a position on it. I haven't set anything in stone yet, but I'm definitely considering building a position in Zcoin at these levels. It seems like it could easily at least come up to this level where it's seen resistance in the past, but it seems like we're just repeating history. We had the pullback, as we have over here, then the run-up resistance at 400,000 satoshis, then the pullback to 200,000 satoshis, the 50% pullback, and then the flag, and then the run-up. And then we've had the same thing here. We had the pullback, resistance at 400,000, support at 200,000, flag up in price. If you don't learn from, you got to learn from the history of price action. Stop looking at the 5 to 10 minute chart, folks. You'll see so many grand opportunities that come up and can propose great trading opportunities if you just look at the price history. If this gets good, a one or 2 days of good volume action in the sense of buy side action, I think this could be a winner, and we might be able to see this go up to its highs, which would be a phenomenal run up, especially at these Bitcoin comparative highs. So keep an eye on Zcoin. I think it's good. It's got a good brand behind it, and I think that the technology, more than anything, zero proof is one of my favorite ways of making private transactions. Moving on here, we're going to move towards a few of the stellar players we've been talking about for quite some time. Ripple continuing to kill it. The volume isn't as strong as it was a few days ago, so we don't have that same South Korean volume we've seen. But I'm telling you, folks, I think we'll see a lot of altcoins make a comeback with Bitcoin getting pulled back, okay? So if Bitcoin gets a comparative pullback, its Bitcoin comparative pullback, or the Bitcoin comparison for Ripple is going to run up, and I think we could easily, if we could lock in a close above 6,000 satoshis, I think you could easily see a run up towards the 10,000 level. Now I know it seems like I'm very overtly optimistic on a lot of these altcoins, even though I'm talking about a pullback. But with Bitcoin pulling back, this is going to give altcoins the time to shine. We really still haven't seen it yet. I think that Ripple is a good long-term play. I think with more, of the events coming up, with a lot of the, big banking financials, the big financial heads of the banking world coming out and talking about how they're utilizing Ripple in the next month or so, I think this is going to provide a catalyst for Ripple to really make a comeback. We've been saying it from the lows, folks. You buy low and you sell high. And, there's a lot of people who bought up here. And when it got down to these levels, when it found support down at this level where we've seen it in the past, we were patient. We waited towards it was under the 200-day, and we bought in, and we're getting paid with our patience. So Ripple's a good long-term position, in my opinion, and I think you could easily see it continue to, we had the run up here. I think we're going to see it cup up, and if you can get the close above 6,000 satoshis, it's going to confirm price strength confirmation, and this will be a really good winner. So keep it on your radar. I think Ripple's a good play as well. Next up, we've got the infamous Litecoin. I've been saying it from when we bought it, folks. You don't need to be a technical whiz for some of this. It's just as simple as being patient, waiting for those support levels. And we bought down here, and we are printing money. I've locked out of a lot of my Litecoin because it's hit my sell levels, as you all have probably seen. If you watch my trading cryptocurrencies for intermediates, you would know that a lot of my positions are locked out now. I've locked in profits, and Litecoin has paid very, very nicely. Thank you, based South Koreans. But you can see the volume has really poured into this, and I think people are optimistic on Litecoin. Now, I will say, with how high Bitcoin is, this has pushed Litecoin up to around $80 per Litecoin. I think we could see a pretty stellar pullback in the next week or so. I think it's going to continue the run up. We usually see these kind of exuberant run-ups in Litecoin, and then we have a more long, drawn-out pullback. But I think it might reach the 2 million Satoshi level. And if it does, congrats to the longs, and I can't wait to see if it actually will break out to new highs comparative to Bitcoin. I really don't think we'll see it, But, you know, I think that it would be cool to lock in profits around that area and really confirm, you know, we've been talking about Litecoin forever, and to see that 100% run up comparative to Bitcoin, even when Bitcoin's been rallying, very good for Litecoin. So, again, one of our favorite long-term picks, and it's been paying us. We've been patient, and it's good to see a long-term return. Now, on to what I think you all are still curious about in the sense of my opinion. You know, have I changed my opinion on it? NEO, okay? I want to let you all know I added to my NEO position the other day. As I was saying, I was looking to add to my NEO position, and I did. NEO is just too cheap at these levels. It's been more than a 50% pullback. Nothing has fundamentally changed. It's been exactly what we're looking for NEO. We've been begging for this opportunity for a pullback. And I thought I was getting a steal at the 780,000 Satoshi level when I made my first addition to NEO. But no, folks, I've added down at these lows. Remember, we buy low, we sell high. Buy when there's fear in the streets. Buy when there's blood in the streets. Even if you're down 10% after your addition, don't you know, fun and be like, oh my god, you know, I'm down 10%. I'm a panic sell. Folks, if you know fundamentally that NEO is a good hold, don't let the emotions ride over you. Be real, be fundamental, do your due diligence, and be patient. Because if you're patient and NEO goes up here to these highs again, you're gonna be laughing your butt off thinking, man, I was so overtly emotional when I was thinking about selling. Man, now it's back up to new highs. And not to mention, I bet Bitcoin will be at even a higher level at that time period when NEO runs up there, and it'll be, you know, I don't know how much it could be worth in the USD valuation, but you'll just be laughing your tail off and be like, man, I was being so overtly emotional, and I was just patient, and I held it, and it rode up to new highs. Or you can be emotional, you know, and sell it, and then it rallies back to highs, and you're like, man, I missed out on that. Now, of course, you might have a different opinion than I do on NEO. I'm very overtly optimistic on it, but at the same time, I don't let my bias carry over. I just don't think there's been anything fundamentally changing with it. So, remember, buy when there's fear in the streets, buy when there's blood in the streets, and you'll profit, okay? Especially if you're doing this for a more long-term investment. And add on the dips. If you've been, you know, adding on the dips in the past, repeat it. Add on the dips. Now, of course, you got to do your own research, and, you know, I'm no financial advisor, but again, I'm very optimistic on NEO, and I'm sticking to it. I put my money where my mouth is. I bought on a position on NEO, and I added to my position as well. So, definitely holding even more than I ever have on NEO. Very optimistic on it. So I want to talk about Monaco here. A lot of you have asked about Monaco, and I think one of you were leaving a comment on one of my videos saying like, oh Nick, Monaco's like pulling back, like thoughts. I'm like, well, yeah, I said don't buy Monaco. I did a video covering its technology, and I said that look, as much as I think it's a cool piece of technology, and it might give 10x a slight run for its money, there's no deployed tech right now. Not to mention, you just don't buy at highs up here. The fundamentals might be there, but you do not buy after something's gone from around 45,000 Satoshis and within 2 weeks has gone up to more than 10x its valuation. You just don't. I mean, remember, buy low, sell high. I'm going to say it a million times, and I'll say it again. It's the fundamentals of the market. Now, here's the reason I say that. We've seen a pullback here of pretty grand proportions. If you're a long-term investor or even a swing trader, you are able now, because you were patient and didn't buy at these highs, to double your position on Monaco. Whether that's a long-term investment or you think it's going to continue back up to those highs, you are able to double your position with the same comparative Bitcoin than you were a few days ago. Think about that. That's pretty phenomenal. That is much more added to your position and much more to gain. Just in general. Not to mention, you have a much less, you lowered your risk much more than it was up here. It's a win-win situation. So, that all being realized, I think if it can maintain support here at 200,000 Satoshis, it's a very big even. It did it in the past. If you can get a nice curve down of support here, you might be able to see a run up in it. I think Monaco could be a winner, but quite frankly, there's been a lot of, a lack of delivered tech so far, and we've really got to see this, have some proof of concept. We've seen it with 10x. 10x is functioning. I know people, my fellow Aussie fans of the channel over in Australia using their 10x card, have yet to hear any stories about Monaco. So I want to hear that. I want to see it being used, and I want to see the flexibility of use as well. So again, like Monaco, but going on and speaking about 10x, I want to talk about a potential trade in 10x. Now we can see here that there was some resistance as we've seen in the past with the 100,000 Satoshi level for 10x. I think that's understandable and it's fine. Not to mention, we got to understand we've really still had an amazing run up in 10x, more than 100% run up at these levels. And I think what we're going to do is we're really going to confirm support at this level. As you can see, I have an arrow or line pointing towards this support line that used to be resistance, and I think it's going to continue to act as support, much like we saw over here, and we're going to see a curve up and go towards new highs. I think the optimism in 10x and the payment solutions market for cryptocurrencies is strong right now. Outside of privacy coins, it's one of the best markets I think you can focus on. Mise Go being a perfect example of that, but really the physical, card solution market, I think is going to be a really good winner over the next few months. And I think 10x is a very good long-term play. So if you're adding for the long term, if you're making a swing trade, I would recommend looking towards buying a little bit above the 75,000 Satoshi level. I think 10x would be a good trade. And quite frankly, if you're buying at these levels, you could easily see a double up to these levels. That's 100% run up in crypto for a crypto trade. Not bad for a few days. And I think it's going to be just like it was over here. You're going to see the curve, and then the optimism is going to come pouring in if it finds that support. So keep an eye on it. 10x is a good player. I like it long term. It's going to be one of my top 10 holdings for the long term. I really do believe in the technology, and I think it's ahead of any market player out there. So that's it for the market recap, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the market recap. Let me know what you all think in the comments down below. Is there some picks that I missed that you want to talk about or you want me to look into? Get a discussion going, folks. I love it. I've been seeing all the activity in the comments, and though I can't always interact with you all, I apologize. It's a growing community, but I think there's so much optimism in this market. We're having a great time. We're learning, building off one another, and sharing information as much as we can, and I love every minute of it. So thank you all so much for contributing to the community. Thank you all so much for staying active on the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.